from the City of Angels, you're listening to the James Salazar Media Podcast. On today's episode, we're going to talk about the death of Kobe Bryant, and we're going to talk about some movies, Grammys, and potential Academy Award winners. So let me strike the music, and I'll meet you on the other side.
Engage.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Say hello to my little friend.
No, I am your father.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
And welcome to the James Salazar Media Podcast, where you get your weekly dose of pop culture, politics, and futurism. I am your host, the formerly mentioned James Salazar, a.k.a. the media, the new media. It is a somber week in the city of Los Angeles and for the nation and for sports. The superstar athlete, basketball player, Kobe Bryant from the Lakers organization tragically died in a helicopter accident Sunday afternoon or Sunday morning. The city is in mourning. We lost a great athlete just a few years after his retirement. He was like 41 years old. He was about to give back because of what he was setting things up, and he was already in the midst of giving back to the world what he had the privilege of doing, playing basketball and making a lot of money and being highly successful. Arguably will go down as in the conversation of the top four people who've ever played basketball. Particularly hit hard the fans of the Lakers and Kobe. Kobe had brought 5 championships to the city of Los Angeles. He was there after Magic Johnson and that whole crew. Kobe Bryant was their golden boy. He spent his whole career on the Lakers, which we know today is a very rare thing. And his daughter died with him, and someone who has a daughter, it is so tragic. I hope he didn't feel the disappointment and the horror knowing that they were going to die and that his daughter was with him. I pray that it was quick. And I don't want to hear it if it's not, to be quite frank. And yeah, it's a terrible thing. Talked to my friend Bax Baca from the Life Podcast, and, you know, he was a super fan of Kobe and of the Lakers. And he was appreciative of my call. He knew exactly what I was calling about. And my nephew, he grew up with Kobe Bryant being his fan, being a fan of Kobe Bryant. You know, he knew nothing else. He grew up during the Kobe era, and he's in complete shock. He does not know how to take it. But yeah, it's a super disappointment, super tragedy. Prayers go out to his family and his friends and his colleagues that were close to him. R.I.P. Kobe Bryant. That's all I'm going to say about that. Also in the news, we had the Grammys. It was a total sweep by, who's that girl? Shoot, I forgot her name. I just had it in my mind. Billie Eilish. Very young. I mean, I think she's in her 19 years old, and she swept the Grammys. First time ever someone swept all four things. So that's super impressive. I mean, her influences sound very gothic to me. I dated a gothic girl. Had to listen to that music for a while. And it sounds like it. Definitely more polished. Definitely better songwriting. But you can hear the influences of more of a darker tone. And how she produces her voice on records. You can see the influences of more of a Bauhaus and Depeche Mode and some more gothic. I can't speak for her. Maybe those are not her influences, and maybe it's just all original in her mind. But we do not live in a vacuum, and there's a lot of music out there that can influence you. And I bet those are, if I put money on it, those were her influences in making those sounds. Or it might be a modern sound and that she's taking from, and those people were influences by the people I just mentioned. So either way. So congratulations to her. And we'll see where she goes. You know, sometimes people, when they get so much so early, they get, and I mean, she's 19, so she is going to be subject to every silly personality trait, every insecurity that every other 19-year-old, even more because it's amplified because of her fame. And we'll see. We hope that she's smart and does well and doesn't have a tragic lifestyle. I'm not wishing that at her all, but, you know, if you listen to some of her music, it says, you know, good girls don't go to heaven. And it's a clever line, but the fact of the matter is, bad girls have bad results. So her philosophy is a little bit skewed already. You know, I was a youth pastor for 7 years, and I had the pleasure to counsel people who were bad girls and how life wore them out with bad decisions. So just gotta say that for that statement. And most often when singers write that stuff, you know, they're not there to pick up the pieces after some girl says, yeah, good girls don't go to heaven. I'm gonna be crazy and live my life to the fullest. And there are consequences to those types of lives. And most often, 9 times out of 10, when you talk to those people, they fucking regret it. Just telling you. They regret the decisions that they make. And they end up not knowing how not to make those decisions anymore. I mean, don't get me wrong. I listen to music that worship the devil. I took it with a grain of salt. But whatever. This is what I think. So, congratulations to her. She's a phenomenal talent, and see where she goes with it. And I hope she becomes a lot of girls are into her. So she has great amount of influence. And we'll see what she does with it. So I want to get into a couple of movie reviews right before we head to the Academy Awards. Now, I don't know if you've seen The Joker yet. It's a phenomenal movie, phenomenal acting, gritty, very unlike a comic book movie. Deals with serious subjects like mental illness and also bureaucracy and greed, and also, which people don't get, greed and income inequality, but also the dangers of demonizing people who are successful. What does that lead to? And the violence that could come from, always demonizing people who do better than you, who work harder than you, who have more money than you. Back on Kobe Bryant, he had a work ethic second to none, legendary work ethics. Some of my friends patterned their lives upon the same type of work ethic that he inspired. Kobe was the first to be there and the last to leave. Constantly practicing his fadeaway shots, all his shots. So when he performed so when he got onto the court, he performed in a way that was magical. But even he would say he could not be who he was without his work ethic. Conor McGregor says, there's nothing special about me. He just works hard. And that's true. And I'm saying everybody works hard. But the difference between people who work super, super, super hard is greatness. Greatness can be achieved if you're willing to work hard to get it. Some people don't want to work hard, and that's fine. I'm not. And some people want to live life, and as opposed to work hard and make their mark on this world. And there's nothing wrong with living to be free and to enjoy things. There's nothing wrong with that. But don't cry when you're not great, right? Don't cry when you don't have what the other person has. Some people are worth more based on what they know and how hard they work. I know people are going to say, well, a lot of people inherit money. We know today that there's more people rich, there's more self-made millionaires than millionaires who inherit their money. So there's no substitute for hard work. And hard work doesn't always lead to financial gain. Doesn't. But it leads to being great at what you do. And no one can take that away from you. I mean, if I worked this whole year, 10 hours a day, I might. At the end of the year, if I work 10 hours shooting a fadeaway shot, I might maybe get as accurate as Kobe. Maybe. If I just practice that shot every single day, 10 hours a day for a whole year. But the fact of the matter is, I'm short as fuck compared to him. And I can't make that, and that counts for a lot. I'll get trampled by those long-legged giants. So me being as accurate as Kobe Bryant will not lead to any NBA championship for anybody. So it's important that even though you're scared, I'm just saying, not all people who are great at what they do, leads to success and championships or fame. And fame's another qualifier. Fame depends upon other people liking you. You may be great at what you do, but you may be an asshole. Right? Okay, I'm ranting. So where am I at on this? The Joker. So, yeah, it deals with a lot of great subjects, great acting, should be up there with the nominee. Now, the one I'm upset about is, what do you call it? Uncut Gems. Adam Sandler's great in this movie. Everybody's great in this movie. It is a typical New York tale about gambling and with some unique storylines dealing with basketball as well as jewelry. And there are moments in this movie that makes you cringe, give you anxiety, and it's just great acting all the way around. A great ending. It should have been up there. Very disappointed of its lack of nomination. That's what I want to say. I am rooting for and hoping for the Joker to win. Now, The Irishman, I like the movie, but it's long. And here's the thing. You get these three phenomenal stars, and they're all great. Phenomenal. But as you pull yourself, as you walk back from it emotionally, it's a great movie. And it is. It's not better than Casino. It's not better than Goodfellas. It's not better than The Godfather. And I think it needs to be that to be nominated. It's just right below that. And it's hard to get that from where they are in their lives because there's some moments in it that just don't translate, and the CGI just kept on pulling you out. It kept on being a distraction. And still, that distraction doesn't make it not a great movie. It just doesn't make it an Academy nominated movie in my book. I think they dropped the ball. They could have used great actors. Find some young new actors to play young De Niro, young Pesci, young Michael Corleone. I think his name escapes me right now. I think it was there. So I think it was a missed opportunity. And, you know, those guys, especially Robert De Niro, they made their bones based upon that they were playing a younger character of the main character. And I'm surprised they didn't do that for other actors. I think that's where they failed a little bit. They should have had some new young guy who's close to how Robert De Niro looked to play the young Robert De Niro. And then had Robert De Niro play the old character of Robert De Niro. It still would have been a great movie. That's what I think. But it might win. I don't know. I don't think it's going to win. But those are three. Those two. But I'm really rooting for the Joker. It'll be the second time someone's won an Academy Award playing a comic book character, but the same comic book character. That's like someone playing. Well, actually, I'm not sure if the guy who played John Gotti, not John Gotti, Hoffa. Did Jack Nicholson win for Hoffa? I'm not sure. And I think if what's his name gets the Academy Award, his name escapes me. Famous actor, guy who plays Michael Corleone. I can't escape. If he wins the Academy Award, I think that might be the same character, someone playing the same character and winning the Academy Award again, playing Jimmy Hoffa. So it's going to be interesting. See how this goes down. So TV shows. I finished The Witcher and I finished Lost in Space. And this is my review based on what I saw. The Witcher, you see what happens when you have an A-list actor play a part. Henry Cavill, good looking, super charismatic. You tend to gravitate to every scene that he's in, and you just see the difference with somebody who gets paid millions of dollars. He is Superman, does great movies, has done a lot of movies. You just see the difference why people get paid the big bucks. And not to say that everybody around him was not bad. No, they were all great ensemble. But you just see the difference. He plays Geralt of Rivia, if I pronounce the name right. Overall, I liked it. It was very confusing, the timeline, and they didn't. I think they did that on purpose. I think they think they're Quentin Tarantino. It doesn't go as well. I think that's the biggest criticism of it. You felt one thing was leading to another, and it was, but it wasn't. It was basically the freak of the week, but not. It was like as each town he went to, he had to solve a problem. But the order of the towns that he went to, were out of order. So you never knew where you were, and he never aged. So you just didn't know. And the people who were at different points of his life in the span, I would say, of 20 years, of 12 years, or 14 years, everybody looked the same, except for the kid, who was like 12, the girl running from everything. So you never knew where you were in the timeline, but those situations that he had to handle were pretty cool. And he handled them in a cool way. And if I knew that's what was going on, I would be able to judge those I would be able to enjoy those situations better. But I was always asking, what does this have to do with that? And I was like, oh, okay, that was interesting. But some of them didn't have to do with anything, with the main overall arcing storyline. You're like, oh, that had nothing to do with it. He was just getting money and solving a problem because he's a witcher, a half human, half witch hybrid, where there's very few left, like 1 or 2 or 3 at the most, and they're known for killing monsters. That's their job. They go around killing monsters and freeing towns for money and for food and for lodging. Okay? And I guess it's clever, and they got the criticism, and they said they already said that the season 2, which they've been approved for because everybody watched it, season 2 is going to have a much better understanding timeline. Thank you for that. We appreciate that. So it was a good show. So if you haven't watched it yet, just know that some of the episodes are just one-offs, had nothing to do with it, and some are. So just enjoy the situations he's in at the time. Okay? And if you go into it like that, you'll be more surprised about when something does point to the overarching story. Be surprised that something does. Don't be waiting for something to happen for every show to do that, because it's not. Yeah, so. But overall, I liked it. It was entertaining. It's not for everyone. It is not for everyone. It's typical ice and fire, swords and dragons, and magic. I mean, in that genre, the top 2 is Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones. Unfortunately, the Game of Thrones ended poorly. And, they were just saying right now that R.J.J. Martin, whatever, he wanted to do this last season and a 3-movie trilogy. Instead, they had no patience and they did it. And when the producers of the show started to write it, that's when it went to shit. Because, of course it went to shit, because they're not novel writers. So they ended it crappy. So I don't, it's okay to say you're making a mistake and throw something away. Say sorry. I think we should just go back and finish it correctly. Say sorry, we messed up. We screwed up. Fire those other people. Do not give them the new series, because I don't trust what they write. Clearly, there is a big disparity between the writer, the novelist who wrote Game of Thrones, and these screenplay writers, or these TV series writers, when he gave them the okay to write the rest of the season. It was very bad. And J.R. Martin has the luxury of writing a totally different story and not do what they have to do. So I'm excited about the new book, but unfortunately it's not going to be televised or made into a TV show unless every Game of Thrones fan signs a petition and sends it to HBO with a threatening of canceling their service. I think I'm going to start this. How do I do this? It should be 1 season and 3 movies like he wants. Let's do what the author wants, not what the stupid TV the HBO wants and their producers. That's all I have to say about that. Lost in Space. Enjoy the show. Really good. I didn't think it was gonna be as good because of they weren't really lost in space. They were stuck on a planet, but the situations, this solving the problem in very unique ways was very entertaining. Very entertaining. The character arcs of each character were great. Especially Dr. Smith, the father, the mother, everybody. I enjoyed it, and I enjoy how it ended. Open-ended, with a very unique situation, and I'm excited to see the new season. I always give Lost in Space a thumbs up. It's really good, and you know it's good when people who don't like those type of shows watch it. Like my friend Backboxer from the Live Pad, he doesn't really care for sci-fi movies. They have to be real. They have to be mainstream for him to do anything, to watch them. I mean, I don't know what he likes, but he likes this. So that means a lot. And, excited about seeing the new season. For sure. Right now, I'm on some HBO shows. I'm watching Avenue 5, which is a comedy on HBO, where it's like a cruise ship in space, and they get knocked off course, and a lot of comedy ensues. It's with Hugh Laurie, a house. It's pretty funny. He's the captain, and a couple people from a couple actors from Silicon Valley. So super funny, silly, and I enjoy it. And there's also this other show called The Outsider. Very interesting concept. I don't want to spoil it for you, but the twist is, I want to say the twist, but it is a super mystery. What do you do? And I'll just tell you the concept. What do you do if there's a murder and the person charged with that murder is at 2 places in the country at the same time with video? How do they find out the truth? That's the concept. So, definitely watch that. I'm finishing up Evil. Evil's gonna has one more. Evil has it's doing really good. I love the show. It deals with possession and clinical psychology, and the underlining of that there's just evil in this world that doesn't have to do with the devil or psychology. Some people just want to hurt people. Some people just want to see things burn. And there's some people who, and the line of psychology and spirituality is always being tested. What's happening here? So it's a great show. I suggest it to everyone. We're coming up close to the ending. I always watch Curb Your Enthusiasm. Just silly show. Makes me laugh. If anybody wants to watch a silly show about a guy who just bitches and complains about everything and finds himself in trouble with everything, watch Larry David with Curb Your Enthusiasm. Super funny. What else? I'm just thinking, watching Supernatural. That's coming down to the wire. A lot of my TV shows have been ended. Oh, yeah. That's right. Picard. Watched the first episode of Picard. Tonight's the second episode. Good first episode. Very intriguing. Set a great backstory of what's going on with Jean-Luc Picard, the former captain of the Starship Enterprise. And things have happened. He's retired, disgruntled. Shit went down. And now something from his past has come back, and he must flesh out this mystery and call upon probably old friends and new ones. First episode, so I enjoyed it. It's kind of hard for me not to enjoy it because I was just feeling nostalgic just to see Patrick Stewart as Jean-Luc Picard and seeing some other characters I haven't seen in a long time together. So I might be not the best of judge as of right now, but we'll see if it goes on to be a great show. I suspect it will be. Yeah, I think that's it, guys. Hey, if you have any questions, if you think any of my criticisms or you want to make your own statements, just put it in an email form at jamessalazarmedia@gmail.com. If you want to follow me on any of my social media, I'm in Facebook, Pinterest, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. Just type in James Salazar Media. I should come up. Please follow. Hey, please like and leave a review on the podcast if you will. If you please, I would greatly appreciate that also. And if you have any needs of life coaching, just go to jamessalazarmedia.com. Check out my services. Check out where I'm singing next or speaking next. So until then, my friends, if the storms of life come against you and you find yourself on your knees, take a look at that storm, stand tall, and say, "Give me your best shot." Strike the music.